There you go, Stash. Really, really high-level basketball game. Man, I have so much respect for Tony. I have everything their campus is going through, everything their program's going through with 3 tragedies. I can't imagine. I know as a DIA athletic department how close and intertwined we all become and what that has to be. So my thoughts and prayers are with everyone on their campus. It meant a lot for them to allow us to wear their shooting shirts today with those young people on it that tragically had their life taken. But high level game. That defensively, both teams were really dialed in. They forced us to make some adjustments. I think we forced them to even play small sometimes. But I was excited for the learning curve that we had today. We came out on the wrong side. We're up 2 with 3:27 to go or something like that, and we fouled a 3-point shooter. We maybe didn't execute the way we need to execute, but they did, and that's a tribute to them and their experience. But we will definitely grow from that, and we will definitely learn a lot and we learned a lot about it. I learned a lot. I made some mistakes down the stretch that I can't make, but that's I'm proud of these guys, and this is a Final Four caliber tournament and event that took place here. I think all these teams are going to have great seasons, and we're just blessed to be a part of it and learn a lot about ourselves as we move forward. And now simple task, just get better.
Coleman, could you take the mic and talk about the defensive intensity? And this team is known as one of the best defensive teams in the country. Was it different from playing an average team?
What was the last part you said? I'm sorry.
Was it different from what you've experienced before, more intense defensively?
No, I don't think so. I think when we play teams that can post our guards up and take advantage of those switches, I think that's kind of what they try to exploit. We were switching on pin downs and things like that. They would throw the ball into the post, back our guards in. So I think those are probably like the only challenges, post ups, stuff like that. But other than that, I think our switching is going to be a problem down the road when we start limiting mistakes on defense. I think we're going to have the best defensive team in the country. So.
Hey, Jayden. So Coach just mentioned obviously you guys are going to learn a lot from this weekend. What are one of the things that you're going to take away from this experience?
This was like a great experience for me playing on this level, playing at a high level and playing against a good team like that. And I feel like I'm just going to learn how to just execute down the stretch, like Coach said, and just stay solid on defense and just always continue to play hard. But mostly just continue to execute and always just do what we do.
Coleman, what did you learn about your team playing 2 top 25 opponents, including a win over a top 10 team, and a team that's won a lot of games?
Yeah, I think I learned we're right there with the best of them. I think we can compete with anybody in the country. The way we can use different pieces, sub multiple guys in, and we're tough. Our freshmen, they have to play. They can't be freshmen. They're getting down the stretch. We're going to be dependent on them. The ball's in Sky's hands, Jayden's hands at the point, both freshmen. But I just learned we're tough. And like I said, we can compete with anybody in the country, really.
For Jayden, it seems like you've made a very good college choice, and obviously Norfolk and Charlottesville are not right around the corner from each other. I was just curious, were you a fan growing up, or did they try to recruit you, or do you have friends who go there or anything like that?
Yeah, one of my friends does play on UVA, Chase Coleman. So yeah, I definitely was a UVA fan growing up. It's like right at home. So I have a lot of respect for that program. Like Coach said, like what they're going through right now. I have a lot of respect for them for that, for coming out here and competing. And that they were also always close to home, so I've always been a fan of them.
Coleman, just what maybe in the last 4 minutes tripped you guys up, kind of execution wise?
I think we all kind of just try to make home run plays. I don't think we listened well. I think we all kind of just did our own thing late. There might have been some tough calls against us. People's heads weren't focused on the right things. But at the end of the day, I honestly couldn't tell you what truly happened. It just kind of went to chaos down the stretch. But yeah, like I said, there's just a lot to learn from this experience, and we'll definitely have to clean up late game execution. So.
Jayden, this has been known as one of the better defensive programs in the country. What'd you learn? What makes them difficult? What'd you learn from playing against the defense like this?
I would say they are defensively sound. The most thing that I learned was that they hard hedge. So how to play against hard hedges and how to play against a pack line. They're pretty disciplined in that. So it was a big learning experience for me playing against that and seeing how that looks and ways to get my teammates the ball, ways to create shots and stuff like that. And I would say I think it was good for me to play against something like that and learn from it.
This last two for the players. Coleman, for you guys to be in this type of NCAA tournament situation, how can that help you guys going forward? What can you use this for down the road?
Yeah, Coach touched on it after the game. Just like even the timing of the games, we play one late Friday, and you play one early on Sunday. So who's in shape enough to go out and compete in both games, not just win one game and then you can't go out and perform Sunday and lose, because like you said, no one cares if you lose. You got to win it all. So down the line, just game times, quick scouting reports, quick turns, winning one game and not focusing on that one, focusing on the next one. So I think it's going to be really good for us down the line because I think this team has a really good chance of making it pretty far in that tournament. So.
Players, okay, what?
Brad, what were those mistakes?
Hey Brad, the disparity in the free throw shooting, how big a factor was that, and what did they do, I guess, effectively or however to get that many free throws?
Yeah, it's something we've got to clean up. We can't foul. I'll see it when I watch the film. Again, I thought there was a few plays where we were pretty vertical and went up and maybe didn't go our way, but that's one game. I think we've been getting to the foul line a lot. I didn't think Terrence. Terrence usually. I think the game before we came out here, he drew 10 fouls, and he's a high-level foul drawer. In a high-level game, you're not going to get those, and we got to be ball tough, and we've got to be smarter and not foul. And obviously there was a big foul at towards the end of the game with the shooting foul. But those are mistakes you can't make.
Coach, I know Terrence can't make 8 threes every single game, but when you have the 5th leading scorer in the nation, do you need him to score well and or play well to win games, in your opinion?
You always want your best players, and I'm always going to put them in positions to try to be successful. It was a unique night. I mean, Terrence is from the free throw line. It was very unique. He didn't get there, and he's been a guy that's because you make a lot of threes one night, he can't forget where his bread is buttered, so to speak, and that's driving that thing to the rim. And he opens the second half and just missed a layup. you know, and he got really good looks and felt good about some of those things. And he's got to grow from this. You know, we're expecting him to be really, really good. And we're counting on him to be really good. And good players don't have off nights in big games. Just doesn't happen. You hardly ever see that. And he's got to accept that role and become that guy for us.
Coach, Dane Danger, over here, Coach. Dane Danger, I think he played just 7 minutes in the first half. Was there something you saw, or is it just saving him for the second half? Or?
Great flow. I mean, we were getting, you know, with Dane in the game, we played a little bit different. Tonight we had great flow. It was one of the challenges and one of the mistakes I made in the second half. Dane got us some easy baskets, but it got us out of flow. And you know, I did. I set Matt too long. We were clicking with Coleman. We were getting cuts. We had the ball moving, and it was not in any way effective of Dane. It was just what they did. We forced them to play small. And you know, they took their 2 7-footers out, which they hardly ever do. And but we got everything we wanted in the first half with our movement, and so there was just one of those nights for him. And I like the way we were guarding and able to switch, so it has much to do with that end as the other.
Right, obviously, you scheduled this tournament to test your team, find out what you have. What'd you find out against 2 very different opponents?
Yeah, we're pretty good. We're gonna be really good. And you know, the 2 teams that are playing right now are both top 10 teams, and you know, Virginia is one of the most experienced teams in the country, and obviously, you know, you got a point guard who won a national championship and leading them. So, you know, they've got all 5 starters back, and we're right there. Our ceiling, you know, we're not even close to it, and I'm still learning. You know, 8 new guys. And I'm still learning, okay, maybe Terrence has an off night or somebody takes it away, where do I go? So I'm learning just as much about this group in the heat of the moment, but go hoop and play and compete and fight. We just did that at a very, very high level in what you could call this a Final Four caliber event, and it was. And I feel pretty good about that. Now we just can't rest on it. We've got to drive them. We've got to get better. We talked about that, as Coleman mentioned, the Friday, Sunday turns, and you know, mentally tough, and the grind, and getting in elite shape, and all those things. And you know, handling a scouting report. You know, we didn't have a shoot around this morning. All that stuff is new for these guys, and you know, we had to make some adjustments on the fly. We made some pretty good ones, and we made some that didn't quite work. But we'll get there. But boy, you guys hardly ever hear me happy after a loss. But I'm in a fairly good place with what can be.
Brad, I came a little late. I'm sorry if you said this, but obviously what Virginia's been through with what happened on their campus. Can you kind of, and I don't want to diminish that by making it about basketball, but can you see in the way that they play that maybe it brought them together, they're playing with a new perspective, just kind of throwing themselves into it? I mean, maybe there's a connection between what happened and how they played here.
Oh, I would be disappointed if it's not. And I think that, you know, we talked about that with our team. They're playing for a cause. And you know, when I was at Oklahoma State, Seth, we played in the NCAA tournament, the Michigan team that had the scare with the plane crash that won the Big Ten tournament. And you get a little bit of just a appreciation for what we get to do. And we get to go play the game we love, and because it could be really taken away from us. And it makes me nauseous. It makes me sick to think that that's happening on our college campuses, within our athletic departments, and especially, you know, I guess it happens anywhere, but a prestigious, you know, university like the University of Virginia. So I'm sure they did. I'm sure they had a mission. Now I also know Tony's team's really good, and they don't need that. But I would hope that that's maybe brings a little joy to the 20,000 people he said yesterday that were at the funeral services, and the solemnness that they're going through. So that stuff really bothers me, but I would hope it brings them just a little joy anyway.
to see how your team played and responded, maybe two very different late game situations in these two games. Just what can you take from that? Is that just maybe a bigger part of using these games?
Execution. I mean, you got to, and again, in the UCLA game, we were able to get the ball where we needed to get it. We were, and Terrence made shots. It became a little more of an isolation game, and just moving. Today, I was probably as bothered by the defensive side as I was the offensive side in terms of executing, and yet we've got to be tougher. We've got to be mentally disciplined, dialed in. We came out of a timeout. Jayden Epps is going to be fabulous, guys, and just broke off a play. Didn't even run it the right way, and diagrammed it on. And those are all learning points. Those are all things we have to learn, and that's something that there's no you can do that in high school and get away with it because you're the best player on the court. Out here, there's real dudes, and those are all moments.
Brad, getting back to Jayden there, you clearly are trusting him with the ball late in games. What have you seen from him, practiced him so far this season to have him earn that trust for you?
Well, he and Sky are really good, and I had those guys in a lot down crunch time, but no, he was very effective in increasing their defense, especially their ball screens. We were twisting a lot of ball screens tonight. And I thought like Jayden could get into the paint. He's been a very, very, very good finisher at the rim over size. But again, he missed a couple that he normally makes, and we don't want to discourage that in any way. But and then Sky's just been rock solid, and I got to get Sky, a little more assertive and aggressive. But we're in good hands with those two.
Coach, and then late game execution offensive, I know you touched on that a little bit, but how much is it just trying to find who you guys are there, that identity, what you want to do there?
Yeah, felt pretty good after Friday night's game. Hey, we're going to get the ball to Terrence, and you go with your veterans, and my mind is, as you guys know, I lean heavily on the veterans, and tonight, in a game that TJ truthfully didn't have it going, I ran a couple of things to Jayden. And then we tried to get a couple post-ups for Dane. Dane got a great look. Ball didn't go in. I've got to. It's on me. I set Matt too long. Matt's a guy who can go get a bucket, and I gotta get him in the ball game now.
Hey Brad, so could you talk to us about the freshmen, specifically Jayden, and also with Sincere, just how they didn't have any fear of the moment this weekend?
Yeah, they just love to hoop. They love to compete. They're both extremely competitive. Sky's very competitive. Ty Rogers is very competitive. Ty had a tough tournament. He got in foul trouble the first night and was better tonight. But all these guys compete, and they're about all of the right things. They're about winning. They're about us. And it's not here where they're out here trying to play for their draft status. Or any of that. These guys are here. They're invested in everything we're doing, and they love their university. They love their teammates, and when you play the game the right way like that, you're going to find success. And are there going to be days like today where there's a speed bump? Yeah, and you grow from that. And it's next time, next man up, they'll make it. And that's what I like about this group. They're not going to play with fear, and they're going to cut it loose.
With the defense, with your switching, Virginia seemed to, and both teams did a little bit, Virginia executed better with the slipping it and ghosting it, whatever they were trying to do against those. How do you develop? Is just communication there with these guys with the experience?
First, second half, I have to call a timeout because we just literally don't communicate on something we talked about at halftime. We knew that they'd go to the baseline, and the baseline runner is not a screen, so that it's not a switch. And we were trying to switch it, and again, scouting report, not having to shoot around, knowing that that's something in their bag. You've got to learn some of those things on the fly. That's where experience helps. A couple of those times it was veterans. It was RJ and Coleman and Matt once. So, you've got to got to grow from those. I thought we hold one of the best offensive teams in the country to 30. What did they shoot the first half? I don't know the stat sheet. 37%. And we did a lot of great things. They hurt us with second chance points, but I thought our defense was really pretty solid throughout for facing the teams we faced out there.
Brad, do you have an update on this last one?
I don't know anything. He said it just was a stinger, and we'll see. I hope it's nothing beyond that.
Okay.
Thank you.